I'm alive, I do or die. I'm alive, do or die. I'm alive.
Yo, what is happening, everybody? I don't know what planet I've woke up on, right? But yesterday, we had a whole series of shows planned, right? And obviously, Russell Brand, we jumped on that, right? But I'm still assuming I'm on planet Earth at this point, right? What is going on with this Lucy Letby case? What is going on here? Now, what we're going to do, okay, when Ron covers this, okay, we're all going to talk like adults, and we're going to discuss assessing this case objectively. All right. So when I say objectively, we're going to put aside the human connection that we have to the monstrosity of children being unalived, right? We are going to put aside our feelings on a woman who's capable of that. And we're going to put aside our feelings on the legal system. And we're just going to look at data, right? Little dots on a map, right? And see if we can make sense of this. Because apparently it was unsanitary. What? And I'm not saying it's not. That's the thing, right? Because what do I know? I'm just a guy. There was a lady or a gentleman who posted a comment here. Emerald Queen. Lucy, and again, I want to reiterate, at no point do I want you arguing with each other, saying, oh, you're crazy for thinking that. You're crazy for thinking that. Let's have a discussion, because I'm not saying she's innocent. She's been proven guilty. But we've seen some pretty mad miscarriages of justice. We've seen some pretty mad, moments in the legal system, not just here in the UK, but everywhere. Oh no, no. This is too. I need to play with the hair, man. This is too. Honestly, this replaces smoking on camera, right? This keeps the hands busy. So we are all adults, okay? So we are gonna objectively discuss the facts, the findings, and all of this. It does not mean you have to believe. You don't have to believe the narrative that we discuss in the side chats after this live ends. Okay? You can go, oh, okay, well, I can see how there could be a conspiracy there, but I still think that, she's guilty. But we're not going to attack each other, and we're not going to go on at each other. All right? Because for people to be defending a woman who's been jailed for what she's jailed, I think it's worth us taking a couple of hours over the next couple of weeks to look into that. Because, man, do you want to be the guy who comes forward to defend her and then be wrong about it? I don't know. Okay, so now that we're all on the same page, let's have a look at what is going on. So this is all from a couple of days ago, right? And Lucy Letby's lawyer delivers medical reports he claims totally undermine the case against serial unaliver nurse. Then we have the other side. Police hit out at ill-informed and insensitive Lucy Letby supporters, questioning baby unaliver's guilt. Oh, okay. Then, right? Then, Lucy Letby bombshell reports expert claims nurse never unalive babies. What? And then we go, Lucy Letby's barrister hands over fresh evidence to Criminal Case Review Commission, right? So we're going to go through these. I think what we'll do is we'll do the ones that kind of blow my mind the most first. The ones that are pro Lucy Letby. And now listen, if you're pro Lucy Letby or you're part of that movement, I do not mean to offend you by the way I'm speaking. All right. Everyone's allowed to have free thought. That's okay. Man, this is spicy. So is this it? Yeah, okay, right, here we go. So let's play this. Why have we got no sound?
We did not find any murders.
Is that how loud it is? Is that how loud we're going to have it? That's brilliant. Let me just check my volumes. Also, if you can give me some likes and shares, that would be really appreciated. Maybe it's my head. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's this. You can all hear me. I'm loud enough, right? I think it was my headphones that were being turned down. So I should be able to hear this better now. Let's check this out.
In summary, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, can I help you? Yeah, I'm looking for Ron. I'm Ron. Ron, I'm here with Microsoft Rewards. I've got some big news.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, God. I literally just about pooped my pants. That came out of nowhere. And now I've turned the sound off. I turned the sound right up, and that knock at the door about ended me.
In summary, ladies and gentlemen, we did not find any murders. In all cases,
What?
Death or injury were due to natural causes or just bad medical care. Lucy was charged with 7 murders and 7 attempted murders. In our opinion, the medical evidence doesn't support murder in any of these babies, just natural causes and bad medical care. They came into this to discover the truth. Finally, we hope the authorities will consider our findings seriously and act accordingly, because you will not find a better panel of experts anywhere in the world. If you are looking for the truth, you don't need to go any further.
Damn! Damn! Wait, I'd hear that again, man. I'm sorry. This is a serious statement. Okay? Like, we can sit and pan this off all we want. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm trying to turn the sound up. That's the sound. The sound is up. It's a sad situation. Let me see if the mixers have got anything going on. 1 sec. See, all the volumes are up. Yeah, I'm going to play it again. Don't worry. I'm just checking the volumes. I love how I think we've got time to get through 5 different news reports, and Ron's just going to talk all the way through the first one. Yeah, no, everything, all the volumes are up, people. This is their fault. This isn't a Ron thing. There's subtitles though.
In summary, ladies and gentlemen, we did not find any murders. In all cases, death or injury were due to natural causes or just bad medical care. Lucy was charged with 7 murders and 7 attempted murders. In our opinion, the medical evidence doesn't support murder in any of these babies, just natural causes and bad medical care. They came into this to discover the truth. Finally, we hope the authorities will consider our findings seriously and act accordingly, because you will not find a better panel of experts anywhere in the world. If you are looking for the truth, you don't need to go any further.
This is wild. So who are these people? Who are these people that are saying this? And why would they be putting their careers on the line for Lucy Letby? On Thursday, her barrister Mark McDonald delivered the full findings of a 14-strong international panel of neonatologists and pediatric specialists to the Criminal Case Review Commission. Okay, so when we're looking at a data point entry, we need to look at where this first data point is a data point of where these new findings are coming from. So we need to look at how relevant these people are to the field that they're discussing. All right. And just because you're sat in a suit and telling us that there's no better panel, we need to sort of do our own little bit of investigation here. You know what I'm saying? In Birmingham, the panel who announced their findings at a press conference in February say poor medical care and natural causes were the reason for babies collapsing. Concluding we did not find any unalivings. However, hang on a second. I need to just look at something. Yeah, we're going to get onto that next. Thank you, Brain. Okay, however, lawyers for the families of Letby's victims last month rubbished the international panel's finding as full of analytical holes and a rehash of the defense case. Now, next data point. The people who are trying to disprove this first data point, how dedicated are they going to be, and what's the one when we talk about non-bias? Okay, we have to look at that too. But here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. 14 unalive babies and 7 attempted unalivings. So arguably we can say that there's 28 parents, okay, who've been affected by this case. There's going to be at least one of those 28 who are at a point where they can look at something objectively if they think that the real cause of their child's passing has been covered up or in some way. It's interesting. Okay, Mr. McDonald also delivered a separate report from 7 medics, which claims the results of insulin tests on 2 infants by a jury concluded Letby poisoned were unreliable. Mr. McDonald also delivered separate reports from 7 medics, which claim the results of insulin tests on 2 infants, which a jury concluded Letby poisoned were unreliable. Okay. Their report summary concluded that the jury was misled in a number of important areas, okay, including medical evidential facts and that key information on the insulin testing procedure was not submitted. Okay, so I think what they're trying to say here is possibly somebody had done an insulin test and it hadn't been logged as being done, and that's went wrong. Is that what they're trying to say here? Possibly. Can you also like and share, please? Like really, Ron's needing some help. So if we can push out some likes for Ron, that'd be great. I really appreciate it so much. Also, we're going to do 15 minutes of call-in on this show. And who is the lady? Who's the lady with the egg picture? I think you're a lady. You might not be a lady. That's okay if you're not a lady. It's okay if you are a lady. The frick have you gone? Hope the mods haven't nuked you. Oh, there you are. Emerald Queen, right? Emerald Queen, anyone who has got an opinion, even if it's against the grain, if you want to come and voice that opinion, hang on a second. Paula M. I am currently live on the internet. I will need to phone you back, my G.
you.
Well, you're on the live now too. Do you want to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everybody. I am so fascinated by this story, Ron.
Right?
Because leading experts have said that she may be innocent. I am blown away.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, all we need to do, we're on hour one of our investigation here. So we need to look at who these people are and just fact check that they are leading experts. They probably are, but we need to fact check that. And I mean, I imagine they are. I'm not going to lie. Like I can't imagine they would have got to this point if they aren't. But how mad is this, Paula? How mad is it that international experts would put their careers on the line for a nurse who allegedly, a nurse who's been charged with unaliving multiple babies? It's
convicted.
Right?
Yeah, right. But the thing is, from what I heard, because I was following this case like crazy, as you can imagine, I do. Apparently, her defense attorney never put up a leading expert against the prosecution. He never counteracted or presented anything. Apparently, he was very lazy, and he just never brought an expert to investigate or do anything, especially in crimes like these. And I know this is going to blow your mind because you know that I'm into conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the hospitals, those hospitals have a record of shoddy hygiene and shoddy things. I wonder if they, rather than admit that they had poor, how do you say it? Cleaning,
or cleanliness and hygiene. Well, that's one of the narratives that they're pushing. That's one of the things that I'm reading about, is that there was a cover up for poor hygiene and poor medical care. And again, I don't know where I sit on this. It's a woman who's charged with unaliving babies. It's a touchy subject, but because it's a touchy subject, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be looking at it objectively, because justice should be served for these children. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I agree. But at the same time, I was wondering about that because I was following the trial, Ron, and I remember when they were accusing her and all that stuff, I was outraged, right? But then when they were defending her, and I'm like, I'm sure this guy's gonna bring in experts, to debunk, because I graduated as a physical therapist, and I have worked at hospitals. And for example, I know that a hospital can lose their certification if they don't have certain things.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of times there are a lot of things hidden. Even doctors, if a doctor, for example, by accident leaves an instrument inside somebody's body, and yes, it happens, guys.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely happens.
This is why you have to have a nurse who's counting. You have a person that exactly is in charge of all the instruments for the surgeons. So to make sure that you start with the same, you end with the same number of instruments that you began with.
Correct.
Because they have that stuff in.
Yeah.
And they can lose certification over stuff like that.
Oh, of course.
And if you want justice served, we should get the right person.
Well, this is the thing, and it's a pretty. If we're gonna, before I've done my fact checking, if everything we're reading about this panel is true, it's very rare you would see a panel like this assemble, put their careers on the line without solid. Well, hey, listen, what they feel is solid evidence and solid facts, right? But it's a mess. And I tell you something, just because it's a mess and just because it's a case where people would rather not think about, that's just somebody outside my house, people would rather not think about, oh, we can't think she's innocent, we can't do this, we can't do that. We should be more concerned with the truth and justice. And that's what it should be. These children who've passed away deserve the justice that is correct. And maybe the justice has been served, or maybe justice hasn't. But it's worth looking at when you have a group of people who are in the top of their field pushing against the grain on a case like this. It's crazy. So yeah,
but also, to your point, because the crimes are so serious, Ron.
Yeah.
They should make absolutely sure that you have the right person by giving her the best defense. Can you imagine, for example, if it was the hospital that was at fault, and they much rather put this woman and label her as a child killer, which is horrible. rather than, and I'm pretty sure that after this was found out, that they tightened their hygiene and all their standards. So this doesn't happen anymore. So there's, then it would be interesting to compare how the standards were before, hygiene standards and procedures, and how they are now. Because if they have done a shift,
here's the thing.
that means that they weren't doing things right. Because if they were doing things right, they wouldn't need to adjust any standards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If there was poor standards, okay, and it was known that there was poor standards, a psychopathic unaliving nurse could 100% use that to their advantage. They could create a scenario, and I'm just being objective here, because if I'm a psychopath who wants to unalive people, and I know that there's poor sanitary, I'm going to lean into that hard. Do you know what I'm saying? And
I know. But then these experts are saying that according to the findings of the autopsy and the way that they claim that she unalived the infants,
yeah,
it can't be done. So, and I've seen at least 2 of the leading experts, and this specifically one of them. I mean, this man is not mucking about.
Yeah.
This is the kind of man that, like, he's serious in his stuff. And there were things that were red flags to him from the beginning. And to me, just by the reputation of this gentleman, it's, yeah. I mean, just the fact that this gentleman is saying, wait a minute, take a pause. Now, let's put yourself in the other situation. What if you're innocent?
Right.
And you're accused of all of this.
Right.
You have a shoddy defense, and this is your legacy.
Right. I mean, look, we've seen countless people who've spent decades in prison. 40 years later, DNA evidence comes out, and some poor guy who sat in a cell for 40 years is free. Oh, sorry, mate. Here's a couple of million. Enjoy smartphones. See you soon. Like, it's horrendous.
Who gives you back the time? This is one of the things that people don't understand. Like, who gives you back that time? Yeah. So for that part, and you know what the worst part of it all is, Ron? Even if you're found that you were innocent and they lied, people, unfortunately, will always say, well, there must be something there, because if they convicted her in the first place, there must be something there. So you can never shake that off.
Oh, 100%. If her,
like people say,
well, here's the prime thing. She's been convicted. People don't believe it. There's evidence coming out. If she was to come out and be vindicated, it's going to be a 50-50 split. It's never going to be the same reality, because we're talking about babies.
Yes. Yes, that's the thing, because because it's babies. You know how I am with this shit. With this thing, right?
Yeah.
I am very, very against it, and I was hating this woman so much. Mm-hmm. I even thought at one point very, very wrongly.
Yeah.
Oh, this woman shouldn't even be given a trial. She should just not make it to trial.
It's because it's so triggering. And do you know what? And again, last thing I'm going to say from this objective side.
How's Nova, by the way?
Oh, Nova's awesome.
By the way, how's Nova?
Nova's great, man. She is awesome.
You haven't sent me more videos.
Oh,
I don't know what I've done that you don't send me more videos.
I'll send you more. It's honestly, the last 3 weeks have just been a crazy madness, man. But
okay. But you're a father. Can you imagine how we react as parents? Especially infants, baby infants. It's sick. I was so angry at this woman. I really, it wasn't hard for me to hate her and to believe what they were saying. And that is a huge problem. Yeah. But now that this expert has come out, and when I found out who it was, I went like, fuck up the truck, buddy boy. What the F?
Yeah.
Because I worked in hospitals, and I can tell you that hospital hides stuff.
Oh yeah, well listen, I live in a country where the hospitals are so disgusting. A superbug manifested in our hospitals that just took you out the game. I can't remember what it was called. Like, it began with an M, I think, and it was known as the hospital superbug. And if you were over 70 in the UK and you went into hospital overnight, there's a good chance that something bad could happen. And it's crazy. And it's and again, look, Paula, do you know what? I'm going to get back to reading this, right? But I'll message you when I do the next update on this.
Yeah, because, no, sir. Just wanted to come and say hi to you, and that I do listen to you, buddy. I know, and I'm not always commenting, but I do listen to you always.
No, thanks, Paul. Well, look, I love you lots.
And I'm gonna continue listening and go back to your show. Sorry to interrupt.
No, listen, you can interrupt anytime you want, Paula. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll speak to you soon, my G.
Bye, sweetie.
All right. So it's interesting when you look at these things from the angles that are being presented now with these medical reports. Now, let me just check something. In fact, no, we're not going to check something. We're just going to do this. Hang on a minute. Hang on a second. I've just had a horrible thought about. I think somebody's yes, scheduled. Okay, good. Right. So I need to set that up in the back end for our wonderful Beverly Rhodes so that all of you wonderful viewers get pushed over to her show. And then I'm back at, I can't remember. We're not ending the show right now, just so you know. But I'm just getting that set up. So it goes this show, Beverly's show. Then I think it's Sean's on for a show, and then me and Sean have a show later on this evening where I think we're doing a big call-in on Diddy and a whole bunch of other people. Anyway, so where have you guys gone? You're here, right? Please look at the expert witnesses. Okay, so look, today we're just going to try and rattle through all of this. Not all of this, but we're going to. So the author said, our insatiable conclusion is that the evidence significantly undermines the validity of assertions made by the insulin and C-peptide testing presented in court. Speaking of, like, I'm not being funny. If you've got, in fact, no, we're just going to read this and be quiet. Speaking of both reports, Mr. McDonald said the fresh evidence totally undermines the prosecution case at trial. This is the largest international review of neonatal medicine ever undertaken, the results of which show Lucy Letby's convictions are no longer safe. The conclusion of the report on babies F and L clearly demonstrate that the case must go back to court and appeal as a matter of urgency. We might all have to swallow a tough pill. We might have to swallow a tough pill here, people, because why do you feel like you have the right to ignore that? What is it we think that gives us the right to ignore this, not just as a person, but from a country and from a legal system? Is this not the very definition of justice? Or not? I don't know. I'm just saying. So the CCRC will review the application and decide whether to refer her case back to the Court of Appeal. Letby has already lost 2 bids last year in challenge of her conviction. So the gist of this report is medical experts, top of their game, largest ever investigation into this ever. What I'm going to do this now is just balance it out just in case we run out of time. All right. And we'll see what the establishment have said in reaction to this. Okay. So here's the thing, right? We're going to, do you know when you see like #1 pizza in the country? Who decided that? Like, who gave you the #1 pizza definition? So we've got the top police officers, we've got the top investigators, all wearing top hats at the top of a set of ladders, toppling over this case, right? The top police officers investigating serial unaliver Lucy Letby today hit back at ill-informed medical experts. You might be the top of your game in your field. Poof, not to this copper. Okay. And insensitive critics questioning her guilt. In a strongly worded statement, Detective Superintendent Paul Hughes insisted the former neonatal nurse's case has been rigorously and fairly tested by 2 juries and 2 sets of appeal court judges, painstakingly and complex 6-year police investigation, yet still his inquiry, the judicial process, and the medical experts who gave evidence at the former neonatal nurse's trial are being scrutinized by ill-informed critics with very partial knowledge of the facts and evidence. I'm sorry. He must be referring to people on Twitter here, right? Or is he referring to the global panel of experts as this? He must be referring to people on Twitter, right? Serious. Mr. Hughes made the unprecedented intervention as Letby's barrister. Mark McDonald announced that tomorrow he will be personally handling and deliver 2 expert reports that he believes will exonerate her to the Criminal Cases Review Commission. So, hang on a second. So I imagine this guy, that was on the 2nd. And when did this come out? This was 2 days ago this came out. So this was the 3rd. So this report came out the day before this report. So this copper hasn't heard what this guy said at this point. Can we get to the top people? I have got a Julia episode that is being put together. I was meant to have a conversation with Julia today. It never happened because of something that happened at my end. But yeah, it's coming. Don't worry. See, I could do a Julia episode every day, but if I don't have anything, I suppose what you guys are meaning is just keep the name going, right? Keep the story in the light. Okay, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. It's not about new topics. It's just about keeping the story in the paper, in the light. Yeah, okay, I hear you. 100%. Right, what was I doing? Over here. In a strong, okay, yeah, yet still his inquiry, the judicial process, and medical experts who gave evidence to the former neonatal nurse's trial are being scrutinized by ill-informed critics and partial knowledge of the facts, totally of the evidence, and senior officer said. Mr. Hughes made the unprecedented intervention as Letby's barrister. Mark McDonald announced tomorrow he will personally... Mr. McDonald claims that the fresh evidence demonstrates her convictions are no longer safe and has urged the CCRC, the body that investigates miscarriages of justice, to refer her case to the Court of Appeal without an undue delay. Mr. Hughes said that in Cheshire, police have chosen not to enter into the public debate about Letby's convictions for the sake of the families of the babies who are unalived and harmed, who are at the very heart of this. Justice is at the very heart of this, Mr. Copper. What are you talking about? Manipulative statement. Of course, everybody feels for the parents of the children that have been unalived. Moron. But you cannot allow your personal attachment stand in the way of actual justice being served. Moron. He said that they had experienced a decade of trauma and grief and have spoken movingly at the close of the public inquiry into Letby's crimes earlier this month about the significant impact the case continues to have upon them. Yeah. Yeah. Especially if there is reason to believe they got it all wrong. How horrific is that going to be, Mr. Policeman, if you got it all wrong and you've got to drag them through another decade of this? It's kind of important you get it right the first time, if indeed you did or did not. Mad. Although Mr. Hughes said everyone is entitled to an opinion, no, everyone is entitled to an opinion, trust me. He insisted the family's voices must not be lost in a sea of noises. Okay, the family's voices should absolutely not be lost in a sea of noises. I completely agree. Has nothing to do with justice, though. Has nothing to do with this process. Okay, but free speech should never be affected. Their dignity and composure in the face of intense public discussion with little sensitivity or humanity is remarkable, he said. Their words are incredibly honest and powerful and must not be lost in the sea of noises. I agree. I wish I lived in a country where I could trust the governments, the police, and the courts. 100%. Kind of, though, I'll be honest. This is the stuff that I'm reading that makes sense to me. I'm evil. I did this. Okay. Thanks, Lucy, for clearing that up for us. That real helps. Let's have a look at some other stuff that Lucy wrote, allegedly. Because none of this looks like the ramblings of a lunatic at all. At all. Now, were some of these not... Was she not asked to write some of these things? Was there not a rumor that apparently she was told to imagine she did this for therapy and to write it all out and blah, 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 blah? Was that not a thing? I don't know. I need to look into it again. I mean, this is like... I mean, what is this? This looks like you've handed in your work to this teacher and then the teachers just went over it in her like red pen of freaking spell checking. It's so shocking how similar her handwriting is to mine. Oh, good. Arranged by her work. Okay, thank you. How is this helpful therapy? How is it helpful therapy? Hang on a second. What? Hang on a second. Good question, Fifi. Where's Fifi? Where's Fifi? How is that helpful therapy? Oh, this, you mean? Okay, sorry, Fifi. God damn it. I don't know if that was a therapy thing. I'm just talking out loud, trying to recall where these notes came from. I could be wrong about the notes. Because I may be remembering a bunch of crap when it comes to these notes, but I'm sure all I was saying, right? All I was saying is if you if you were a nurse, right, who's been arrested and like, let's just imagine like this Pokemon card is a piece of paper, right? And my arm is a table, right? And you're on that side and I go, so just for fun, could you just confess to all of this? But do it from the mindset if you did actually do this. Who does that? Like who's gonna go, okay. No one's gonna do that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But maybe they are. Maybe they are, Ron. Maybe they trust it. I don't know. We need to find out where these notes came from. Someone can tell me in the side chat. Someone will know. But unless do you think someone could have convinced her that she did do it? I know that sounds stupid, right? But if we look at all of the mankiness that's been reported and the terrible medical service that's allegedly been going on, could you not, as a nurse, be convinced that you had done this? Like, do you think that's possible? And not from a serial unaliver point of view, from a, I've been convinced that I have done a terrible thing I didn't even realize I was doing, but because I'm the nurse, I should have been aware of it. Could it be that? I mean, is that a thing? If Uber, you're saying yes to me, then okay, interesting. Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good one. If you're held for months in interrogation, I think you convince that something is green is yellow. That's a bloody good point. Recently, a friend of ours was stuck in a jail cell for 3 days. And the story that she came out with, and she's just a normal lady. She's like a normal lady, right? Like a normal lady, no horrible crimes or anything like that, slapped in there. And her the way that she reported to be treated was shocking, right? And she hadn't done anything to any babies. Do you know what I mean? So you can imagine the stigma of going in there. It's interesting, right? Like, it's interesting. I'm not saying that's what's happened. I'm not saying that she is innocent or isn't innocent. I'm just saying this guy, in fact, do you know what? Who is this guy? Let's get some names here. And don't just keep telling me the medics. Who are these people? Who are these people? International expert panel. Oh man, that looks like, you know, when you're like 6 or 7 years old and you're coming up with a plan, you know, like the Home Alone plan, right? Dwight Schrute's plan. Do you know what I'm saying? International expert panel. And then you've got a stock image of some guys walking. Please tell me this is not what they handed in, right? Like, this is somebody's made this, right? Somebody's made this as a visual tool. Please tell me that's the case. Senior investigating officer. Okay, no one cares. I want to know the names of these people. Where are your names, right? Yeah. Let's have a look here. Well, let's see what Lucy Letby's barrister's got to say. I apologize if an advert starts out of nowhere and gives somebody a heart attack in your property. I'm not responsible for that because these adverts come out of nowhere.
Today, I put in now.
Did you all just see that? Did you just see the advert about to start and then stop? Did you see that? Because it got me again.
Today, I put in now 23 expert reports.
Good.
From 24 experts from across the realm, covering 8 separate countries. Those expert reports completely demolished the prosecution's case that was put before the jury. It is now hoped that the CCRC.
Why would you start as a tram's going by? Like,
it will not take long to look at this evidence and refer it back to the Court of Appeal. This matter needs to be reviewed as a matter of urgency. And these reports.
So what is the problem with reviewing it? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like at any point, if a panel of experts bring forward a report, it's kind of the duty of the judicial system to look at that and investigate it. It doesn't mean that they're admitting to being wrong. It just means that no one's perfect. And maybe this government's giving us reason to think they're a bit of a scallywag. Do you know what I'm saying? Has to be significant evidence to be reviewed by the CCRC. Okay. And again, I just want to reiterate, I'm not saying Lucy Letby's innocent. I'm 100% willing to rip open the Band-Aid and have a discussion about the possibilities that the judicial system is flawed. That's a better way of summarizing this. Sorry, we got 32 seconds into this before I sidetracked us.
show that no crime was committed. That is the conclusion of Professor Shoo Lee and the international panel.
Professor Shoo Lee. Thank you, Professor Shoo Lee. Right, hang on a minute. Did they spell his name in this? Yeah, right, nice. Okay. Okay, that is not Professor Shoo Lee. Oh, yes, it is. Is it? I don't know. I need to find out who these people are. And
the international panel that has reviewed everything. And it's clear now, if that's the case, this case needs to be put before the Court of Appeal, and we can't delay any further. As you know, I was instructed afterwards, I was not the defence team at trial. What I do
I can't stop looking at his ear hair. I can't stop looking at his ear hair.
know is that you can't just simply go expert shopping. You can't just go and find another doctor that comes up and that is not what I've done. I've gone to the best in the realm.
That's not what the family say you've done, though.
Let me answer your question. You come back to you. I'm not going to answer your question. I've gone to the best in the realm. I've gone to the people that wrote the book, the people that wrote the papers, the people. This is the biggest review of neonatology in the criminal justice system in this country ever completed, ever done. This blows the case out of the water. Now, we had a second follow-up question. What was that?
So I was going to say, have you seen those defence reports then? And what you're saying is that this evidence is different to what's in those defence reports?
This evidence here, it completely demolishes everything that was called at trial. Completely. And
the
it
evidence that wasn't
gives
called at trial is what I'm talking
it
about.
completely demolishes. This is a completely fresh and new approach to the whole of the neonatology medical records that was put before the jury.
This is a completely fresh approach. I don't know if I like that. Dr. Shoo Lee. Hang on, let me try that. Ah, yes, that's Dr. Shoo Lee. Thank you. Thank you in the side chat. I had a lady and I'd spelled her name wrong and it brought up the wrong person. Okay, Mr. Dr. Shoo Lee. Who is Dr. Luke? Yes, here we go. Right. Why this retired Canadian doctor may be the last chance to prove monster Yuki baby unaliver Lucy Letby's innocence. Oh. All right. Okay. University of Toronto professor Iramatus Dr. Shoo Lee was busy with the harvest on his farm in Hay Lakes, Alta, the first time he heard the name Lucy Letby. How long is this? Okay. The British nurse, yep. Sick infants already clinging to life, front page of headrest. But in October 23, she was unknown to Lee, the former head of pediatrics at Mount Sing Hospital. Mount St. Hospital, founded in 1852, one of the oldest and largest teaching hospitals in the United States, is located in East Harlem in New York City, borough of Manhattan, the eastern border of Central Province. Okay, non-profit hospital, teaching. It has a 3-star review from Yelp. I don't know what that means. If you're going to be laid up in hospital for okay, let's see. If you're going to be laid up in hospital for almost 2 weeks like I was, this is definitely the place to be. I can laugh about it now, but obviously it was not very funny at the time. 5 stars. St. Francis Emergency Unit was almost comically evil. I threw up at least 8 times on the floor and I was injured. It was only after my mother visited me and the nurses who were taunting me and other patients. I'm not in a place, this is not the place to go for emergencies. This is not the emergency department here. So I recommend going down the street to St. Francis Hospital. This is a rehab and educational facility. Okay, well, that makes sense why you probably had a terrible time as a patient there. All right. And world leading specialist, there was an email that came from the lawyer in the UK asking if I could look at a case. A 68-year-old recalled Wednesday in a telephone interview from London. I thought it was a bit of spam initially. When does one get a lawyer from the UK contacting you? Once the wheat, canola, and barley had been dealt with. Oh my God, is this a Tolkien novel, mate? Like, okay. In 1980, okay. Was a doctor in training at St. John's Health Centre in London. These are pretty prestigious places I think this guy has worked at. Lee was a doctor in training in St. Joseph Health Centre in London when he encountered 3 cases of air embolism. When air bubbles introduced into the bloodstream, into anyone's bloodstream, man. There had only been 57 reported cases in the world at the time. Lee wrote up a review of the available information that explained what was happening and how doctors could recognize and treat the condition. He's also identified a telltale diagnostic sign to prevent on the skin of these cases a bright red blood vessels against a blush background, something known today as the Lee sign. All right, so I've not got time to read all of this, but I think we can probably put a pin in this guy is probably an actual world leading expert. Okay. Like, he's so good at his job that the terminology for spotting an illness or something that could actually hurt a child is named after him because he's so badass at his job. Okay. I had a burger named after me at a cafe once, right? So I know what it's like to be top of your game, right? Put a 1 in the side chat, right? Hang on. The issue is that channels who are not medically trained or have ever worked the NHS are leading others away from the fact. I'm sorry. Does Dr. Shoo Lee, does he have a channel? Are you talking about me, Crackerjacks? Because I'm reading statements here. I don't claim to be giving medical advice. Do you know what I'm saying? God damn. Check your facts, my G. Oh, wow, wait. Okay, sorry. I never seen the purple hair. I'm sorry, Snowflake. I'm sorry. Okay, please. So, if this guy is this level of expert, regardless of how we feel, is it not our duty? In fact, is the very reason that we have courts of appeal, miscarriages of justice courts, are for when individuals who have the authority within a field, if they come forward and say, hey, look, I'm really sorry about this stock image on the front of this review and the fact that we've called it international review, ignore that, but give it a read, please. Do we have the right as a society to ignore that just because of our feelings and the ickiness of this case? Do we have a right to do that? What do you think? Thank you, KLG. So am I. I don't think we have the right to ignore it. Doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean she's innocent. That's not the point I'm making. Okay? The point I'm making is, do we have the right to ignore an expert of this caliber if they see something that's wrong? It's not about if she's innocent or not. The question is, do we have the right to ignore that? And would you want to live in a society that would ignore that? Because I think this opens up a fascinating opportunity for debate, for looking at how public reaction and how the style of crime can sometimes lead to all kinds of mistakes being made, to deliver a pound of flesh, or simply doing an incredible job at putting in a psychopath nurse where she needs to be. Like, I don't know. But what I do know is this guy probably knows way more about this than me. This guy has a rash named after him and it saves babies' lives. So I'd quite like to see what he has to say. Doesn't mean she's innocent. It means I'd very much like to hear what this man has to say. You know what I mean? I think that's the best way of putting it. But there's a lot more to get through, so I may throw up some more of these. I may even drag Paula into this because, oh, I'm the waffler. I'm the waffler, me, Christy. My name's on the screen as well, Christy. Who is this guy? Come on, you've seen a live stream before, right? The name's right there. Don't. You're not that stupid, Christy. All right. Many might believe it. You might want to portray that in the side chat, but certainly the name's on the screen. So yeah, it's a wild one, and it's one that I think is warrant our attention. And yeah, snowflakes. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that you feel like your opinions supersede the facts in the judicial system. Like, I'm sorry, okay, but I don't care. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about your wokeness. I don't care. All right, suck your mums. And the rest of you wonderful people, I will see you back here in a couple of hours. And yeah, Dave, the next show is Beverly, and then Sean has a show, and then Sean and I have a show. That's the sort of the progression of the day's live streams. The next show is, of course, with the wonderful Beverly Rhodes, and I'm just waiting to see if she is going live yet. I know that she's had a few things in the background, and I just hope that she's okay. Psychic Saturdays. Yeah, but we also want it over here, right? What is that? Is that okay? Yeah, that's the two channels. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. All right, cool. So I'm just waiting on the wonderful Beverly Rhodes going. Oh, wait, she maybe needs me to set something up. Oh, she's live. She did it. She's a freaking legend. All right, so we'll give her 30 seconds. Azria. Dave, the link, as soon as this live stream ends, Dave, there'll be a link on the screen that you can click and it'll take you straight across, my G. I'm still waiting on Sean. Has he sent me the thumbnails? I don't know. I know exactly what the shows are. There's just no show to put a thumbnail on yet. What's Sean's? We're doing a phone-in show about Diddy and about Russell Brand and probably about Letby, and really wanting to get all of your guys' opinions on the last week's worth of content and try and bring a show in the sort of late evening where we're getting your feedback on topics, on your opinions and all that kind of stuff, because it'll be great, you know? So yeah. There we go. Thank you. Yeah. So, Asri's out of danger zone. Thank you for asking, Mary. Yeah, there we go. So, she's freaking badass, man. She was messaging me earlier, and it's just like, just recover, okay? Do you know what I mean? She's freaking badass, man. She really is. Like, don't ever discount the pink lady. Right. This is a fascinating case. We're going to continue on with this. I can already feel John Wedger behind me, like, she's in it. She is guilty, Ron. She's guilty. Okay, but it'll be interesting to see his take on this expert review. Love you guys. You are awesome. You are the reason why we do this. And please like, please share. See you in the next one. You will be transported over. Enjoy Psychic Saturdays with Beverly Rhodes.